You're listening to Accounting for Growth, the podcast where growth leaders in accounting go beyond referrals alone and think bigger. I'm Chad Person, your host and the founder and president of AccountingCMO. Each episode, we bring in experts at the edge of accounting innovation to share quick, actionable insights that help you lead with confidence, drive smart growth, and move your firm forward. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Accounting for Growth podcast. As a strategic marketer, one of the most common challenges I see working with accounting firms is that they want growth, right? But not all of them really have the right visibility in what's driving results or even sometimes creating drag, right? Revenue, might be up, but partner comp could be flat. Advisory is, the services are growing, but margins seem to be shrinking. And I find that most of the firms I work with, they're not really leveraging data to its full extent, and the data that they're relying on for growth management doesn't even tell the full story or a real story, right? So that's why I'm excited today to bring in Ben Titus from CPA Grades. He's also the president and co-founder of 2Data, and he is an avid hiker and outdoorsman. And I'm excited to have you here, Ben.
Really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. One of the products I mentioned a moment ago that 2Data offers is CPA Grades. Can you give us an overview of what that's all about?
Sure. Yeah, just as you described. We have conversations on a daily basis with managing partners, firm administrators, really CPA leaders in the space that talk about the visibility issues around their time and billing platforms, and we all know who the big three are in that space, but generally speaking, gaining access to that data on the back end so that they can see that information more clearly in a way that makes decision making in real time more accessible and ultimately leading to more efficiency in the firm is what CPA Grades does for our clients.
Sure. Ben, what do you find often are the triggers for firm leaders where they realize, hey, what I have, the status quo is not working for me?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of key triggers. One might be realization. Again, it's a struggle, I think, for really any professional services organization that wants to maximize the efficiencies in the firm. And I think that when you're in a team meeting or a town hall and you're talking about realization, everyone can nod and say, yeah, that's important. We need to improve our realization. But when we, bring that data forward and start to really put it in the context of, if everyone had just, minimized the write-offs in this small date range, it would have made a real serious impact to the bottom line. And then giving that context right down to a portfolio manager's activity, I think can really start to change behavior. So that might be one. Another would be, I think, at that end of busy season wrap up where, typically at the end of that cycle, there might be feelings of, wow, that was such a great engagement and we need more clients like that. And then there are the others where maybe they spent a little bit more time than they had liked on the relationship, and it ended up not being, at least feeling like it was the most profitable experience. And so what CPA Grades does is it uses a series of 6 KPIs, evaluates all those clients in a programmatic way, and gives each client group a letter grade. So just taking the emotion out of that, that can be another event that leads to folks looking for a solution like this.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. You hit a lot of key hot topics I know inside of accounting firms. Knowing you, I believe you work with kind of a wide array of accounting firms, large to small. I guess confirm that for me, number one. And number two, do you see the blind spots different at all between firms maybe that are smaller or larger, or are they all kind of the same?
That's a good question. We work across really the board. I would say between that, 5 to 10 million, all the way up to $100 million in revenue annually. Sometimes we're looking at it really from an employee headcount perspective as well. How many offices do they have? The larger the population gets in all of those categories, I think it just makes it a little bit more of a data challenge, and so it can make a more material impact when they start to really see that data more clearly. But again, yeah, we'll work with really any. I would say the common threads, again, realization, efficiencies, managing that time and billing cycle to ensure that do we have the right people on the right projects at the right time, and is there a way for us to manage those resources more efficiently?
So obviously, for years now, the one of the key words that just is in every conversation is capacity, right? The the significant obstacle that it seems like it is for many firms to overcome in the pursuit of growth. So, I mean, you just mentioned, right? Do we have the right folks on the right job, et cetera, et cetera? I mean, talk to me a little bit about how that has aided firms, if you can, from that capacity perspective.
Yeah, it's one of those, I think, consistent threads where regardless of the size of the firm, you're constantly iterating the right mix of folks. Do we have too many senior people on this? Do we not have not enough junior folks learning the trade? But a lot of that, there's so many moving variables and moving pieces that it can be really challenging for the master Excel sheet,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yes. Yes.
And having said that, with the evolution of AI over the last 2 years, we've been able to leverage a lot of that technology so that some of the more complex queries, if you will, on a larger data set like we're talking about, can really unveil some insights that maybe, again, it would have taken a tremendous effort to uncover previously.
So that's awesome. So that's a part of if you will, the CPA grades capabilities, not just to simply have a dashboard, which trust me is a significant benefit visually for a lot of firms to be able to kind of gain insights, but leveraging AI for you know identifying opportunities for growth and improvement as well.
Yeah, no question. Of course, you don't have, like you said, you have to look very far in this environment to see where AI is starting to
Sure.
weave its way into really every industry. But we we absolutely leverage it with our solution. Again, we started out as creating really rich, curated dashboards for CPAs to evaluate their employees, their client group, their WIP, their receivables. But no matter how perfect the dashboard is designed or how well it performs and the insights that it can cover, there's always more to ask. And so we
Yeah.
use AI to provide a chat experience to give the user the ability to just do exactly that, is ask questions of the data and drill down in just using narrative and natural language.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's all. It's exciting. I mean, like, I know a lot of, again, professionals today are leveraging maybe like Chat GPT or whatever they choose at different levels. But the idea of having, this experience where you've got your data right in front of you, and you're able to have this experience where you're asking questions specific to opportunities for improvement or growth or et cetera. It's pretty impactful, pretty attractive for sure.
It is. It's like those aha moments that you mentioned. What's the most complex question you could come up with that if you had a big spreadsheet or a really
Yeah,
complex or
yeah,
clean dashboard, even
yeah,
if you had the best dashboard that's ever been designed,
yeah.
which employees have billed 55 hours of billable work for 3 consecutive weeks over the last 2 years? I mean, to answer a question like that is going to be
Oh,
a challenge, right?
right,
You're moving sliders, you're changing
right.
filters, you're navigating through multiple tabs on a spreadsheet. Here, you literally just type it in and let AI kind of do the work, the digging, and you can quickly identify again trends that would have been really difficult previously to find.
Yeah, no question. So, as a fractional CMO working exclusively with CPA firms, I oftentimes I'm called in to do what we call a marketing audit, but it's essentially just, dive deep into, the current state of the marketing function, growth trajectory of the firm, et cetera, et cetera. And I almost always find that for the most part, firms are making marketing and growth decisions with their gut instead of data. I mean, they may have a bit of data, like you mentioned, but the data is not enough, right, to really help them make informed decisions on where to make investments for growth. So talk to me about how, CPA grades and the support of, strategic marketing, development of strategic initiatives, or maybe expanding services and et cetera. How can that help with that?
Sure. There's a couple different ways that we're, exploring different levers that you can kind of, I don't know, more or less identify various service line categories, service descriptions, right down to that service level description or code that lives inside that time and billing platform. So is there a combination of those service codes that are being used on a consistent, reoccurring basis that really translate to, they should be using this service over here as well, because we're having a profitable mix of those service codes really throughout the portfolio, and there'd be no reason for us to not offer those services to this client. And again, identifying those trends or commonalities with a little grit and some Excel can certainly be accomplished, but having that just present itself as a key insight when you log in is something that a tool like this can provide. And then beyond that, I think there's a lot of opportunity to leverage beyond time and billing data in the CPA space, where you're able to leverage potentially the tax return information that the firms are managing. Certainly, leveraging APIs to join that data to this data schema that we build for them, to identify, okay, which of these clients received a distribution this year? Is there an opportunity to offer wealth management services to these folks? I mean, really just kind of using that information to, create growth opportunities is really what we're trying to do.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, one of the biggest values I try to create when I work with growth leaders and accounting firms is just to give them what you're creating as well. And that's just clarity and confidence, right? To make decisions, informed decisions, right? And that's so needed in the accounting profession, and it's exciting to think about the opportunities that your product provides, especially when you couple it with AI. So final thoughts here. If a president or managing partner listening today wants to get more visible or more visibility, right, into their data and make better, more informed decisions, what's the first step?
I would say reach out to us or visit our website at todata.com. Schedule a demo with our team. Again, very casual conversation about the practice management system that they're currently using, if they have access to the data tables behind that application. More times than not, they do. And, our deployment process can be very quick and not intense from a capital perspective. So, again, I think if you look back, and really not that long ago, 5-6 years ago, it would have been, real lift from an investment perspective to get the kind of clarity that we're talking about today. Whereas today, really, it truly isn't that far away. So, understanding the practice management limitations is probably step one. Knowing the access to the data that sits behind that application is probably what I would recommend being armed with before having a conversation about how to, really gain more transparency from the data itself.
Yeah, makes sense. Ben, thanks for the time today. Appreciate it.
Oh, no, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So, hey, audience members, we're going to close up here. If you want, to have, I think, better decisions right around marketing, about client mix, just making smarter decisions to move the needle, there's no question it starts with visibility. Big thanks again to Ben. We'll link his info in the show notes. Until next time, please keep accounting for growth. That's a wrap on this episode of Accounting for Growth, powered by your CMO. We help accounting leaders break the status quo. Please subscribe, share, and stay sharp. Your next big growth move starts now.